The internet was sent into collective disbelief after Jin of BTS made an unexpectedly honest confession during a recent Korean variety show appearance. In a moment that no one saw coming, Jin calmly revealed that he has never once been directly asked out on a date, a statement that immediately stunned the hosts, guests, and viewers alike. The conversation began lightly, with the cast sharing personal stories about romance, first confessions, and dating experiences. Laughter filled the studio as anecdotes were exchanged until the spotlight turned to Jin. With his usual composed expression and effortless sincerity, he delivered a line that froze the room. There was no dramatic build-up, no exaggerated delivery, just a simple admission that felt almost unreal given his global status and reputation as one of K-pop's most handsome and beloved stars. For a brief moment, the studio fell silent. The hosts looked at each other in confusion, some breaking into laughter, while others openly questioned whether Jin was joking. As the disbelief grew, Jin clarified that he was completely serious. He explained that throughout his life, no one had ever directly approached him with a clear invitation to date. The reaction was immediate and explosive, with the MCs exclaiming that such a thing should be impossible for someone like him. What made the moment resonate even more was Jin's tone. There was no bitterness, no self-pity, just matter-of-fact honesty delivered with a soft smile. That sincerity transformed what could have been an awkward confession into one of the most memorable variety show moments of the year. Some guests speculated that people might have felt too shy or intimidated to approach him, while others joked that the entire nation had missed its opportunity. As soon as the episode aired, clips of the confession spread rapidly across social media platforms. Fans and casual viewers alike expressed shock, with many struggling to reconcile the idea that someone so admired worldwide had never experienced such a basic romantic moment. Hashtags related to Jin trended quickly, accompanied by thousands of posts, ranging from playful outrage to affectionate sympathy. International fans described the confession as oddly comforting, saying it made Jin feel more human and relatable despite his superstar image. Korean netizens echoed similar sentiments, praising his honesty and noting that his straightforward personality has always set him apart in an industry often dominated by carefully polished narratives. Memes and jokes followed, turning the confession into viral content, but beneath the humor was a genuine appreciation for Jin's openness. Longtime fans pointed out that this moment perfectly encapsulates who Jin has always been. Known for his sincerity and refusal to embellish stories for entertainment value, he has consistently chosen honesty over image. In that sense, the confession did not diminish his charm, it amplified it. Many fans expressed that this was precisely why they trust and admire him, not just as an artist, but as a person. Rather than becoming a source of embarrassment, the revelation strengthened his public image as someone refreshingly real. In an era where celebrity personas are often carefully controlled, his candid words felt almost rebellious in their simplicity. The variety show moment has since been described as unintentionally iconic, proving that sometimes the most powerful headlines come not from grand achievements, but from quiet truths spoken without pretense. Once again, Jin managed to capture public attention not through performance or spectacle, but through honesty. And in doing so, he reminded audiences worldwide that even global superstars carry stories that are surprisingly ordinary, and that authenticity, more than anything else, is what truly resonates. Following the viral spread of the confession, discussions quickly moved beyond shock and humor into deeper reflections about celebrity culture and public perception. Many viewers began to reconsider the invisible distance that fame can create, even long before global stardom becomes a reality. In Jin's case, fans speculated that his calm demeanor, strong sense of self, and striking visuals may have unintentionally created a wall that made people hesitate to approach him in a romantic way. Entertainment commentators noted that the moment resonated because it challenged a common assumption about idols, that popularity automatically translates into effortless romantic attention. Jin's words quietly dismantled that idea. Instead, they highlighted how admiration does not always equal approachability, and how being placed on a pedestal can sometimes lead to isolation rather than connection. As clips continued circulating, fellow celebrities also reacted online, many expressing playful disbelief while admitting they understood the psychology behind it. Some shared their own experiences of being misunderstood or assumed to be unreachable because of public image alone. This turned Jin's confession into a broader conversation about how image, fame, and human vulnerability intersect in the entertainment industry. For fans, the moment deepened their emotional bond with Jin. Many pointed out that despite years in the spotlight, he has never attempted to craft a mysterious or exaggerated persona. Instead, he consistently presents himself as someone comfortable with who he is, flaws, surprises, and all. That consistency is what made the confession believable and impactful. Online communities began reframing the narrative, emphasizing that Jin's value was never defined by dating history or romantic validation. On the contrary, fans argued that his honesty showed emotional maturity and self-assurance, qualities that cannot be measured by experiences alone. In that sense, the confession felt empowering rather than awkward, turning a seemingly vulnerable admission into a quiet statement of confidence. As the buzz continued, media outlets described the moment as a rare instance where a simple sentence overshadowed even the most elaborate variety show setups. There were no dramatic edits or scripted punchlines, just a truthful answer that lingered in viewers' minds long after the episode ended. The longevity of the reaction proved that authenticity still holds immense power in modern entertainment. In the days that followed, the confession remained a trending topic, not because it was scandalous, but because it felt real. Jin once again reminded the public that behind global achievements, awards, and headlines, there is still a person whose life experiences do not always align with expectations. And perhaps that is why the moment resonated so strongly. It blurred the line between superstar and ordinary individual, inviting audiences to see him not as an unreachable icon, but as someone refreshingly human.
What lingered most after the laughter and online frenzy was the quiet emotional weight behind the confession. Viewers began to interpret the moment not as a joke, but as a subtle reflection of how perception can shape real-life experiences. For someone like Jin, admiration may have existed in abundance, yet it often stayed unspoken, locked behind assumptions and distance. Many fans suggested that people likely believed someone else would take the first step, resulting in no one stepping forward at all. This realization struck a chord with audiences who saw their own experiences mirrored in Jin's words. The idea that being liked does not always mean being approached resonated widely, especially among younger viewers who understand how fear of rejection or intimidation can silence even genuine feelings. In this way, Jin's confession quietly transformed into a universal story, transcending celebrity status and touching something deeply human. Cultural commentators also pointed out that the moment subtly challenged long-standing stereotypes within the idol industry. Idols are often portrayed as figures surrounded by constant attention and affection, yet Jin's statement exposed the emotional gaps that can exist beneath that image. It reminded audiences that fame does not automatically grant emotional intimacy, and that loneliness can exist even in the brightest spotlight. As discussions evolved, fans began reframing the narrative in a more reflective tone. Instead of expressing disbelief, many started emphasizing respect for Jin's openness and for his comfort in sharing something that could easily be misunderstood or mocked. His calm delivery suggested acceptance rather than regret, reinforcing the idea that personal worth does not hinge on romantic milestones. Media coverage continued to describe the confession as unexpectedly profound, noting how it shifted the energy of the entire episode. What started as light entertainment turned into a moment of quiet introspection, one that stayed with viewers long after the broadcast ended. The absence of dramatization only made it stronger, allowing the truth to stand on its own. Ultimately, the moment became another chapter in Jin's long-standing reputation for authenticity. Time and again, he has shown that he is unafraid to speak plainly, even when silence might be easier. In doing so, he continues to reshape how audiences perceive idols, not as flawless ideals, but as real people navigating life in their own way. As the conversation slowly settled, one thing became clear: the confession did not weaken Jin's image. If anything, it strengthened it. By sharing a simple, unexpected truth, he reminded the world that honesty can be just as powerful as performance, and sometimes far more unforgettable. In the aftermath of the broadcast, the conversation around the confession began to mature, moving away from surprise and humor toward a deeper appreciation of what the moment represented. Viewers noted how rare it is for a global star like Jin to speak without filters or protective framing, especially on a variety show where punchlines are often expected. Instead of playing into an exaggerated persona, Jin chose simplicity, and that choice resonated far beyond the studio walls. Psychologists and pop culture writers weighed in, suggesting that Jin's experience highlighted a phenomenon often overlooked in discussions about fame: perceived unreachability. When someone is admired by many, individuals may assume rejection is inevitable, or that someone better suited will step forward. Over time, this collective hesitation can result in silence. Jin's words, delivered without drama, quietly illustrated how admiration can paradoxically create distance. Fans also reflected on how the confession aligned with Jin's long-standing image within BTS. Known for his emotional intelligence and grounded outlook, he has often spoken about self-respect and personal pacing. To many, this moment felt consistent rather than shocking, a natural extension of someone who values honesty over performance. The lack of embarrassment in his tone suggested that he views life experiences as neither competitions nor checklists, but simply as parts of a journey that unfold in their own time. International reactions continued to pour in, with fans sharing personal stories inspired by the moment. Some admitted they had hesitated to confess feelings in their own lives, assuming they were not enough or that timing was wrong. Jin's confession, unexpectedly, became a mirror, encouraging viewers to question those assumptions and reconsider the cost of staying silent. As days passed, the clip maintained its relevance not because it was replayed endlessly, but because it sparked reflection. Media outlets described it as a reminder that vulnerability does not always arrive with tears or dramatic music. Sometimes it arrives in a single sentence, spoken calmly, and lingers precisely because of its restraint. In the broader narrative of Jin's career, the moment may seem small compared to chart records and sold-out stadiums, yet for many viewers, it became one of his most memorable appearances, not for what he achieved, but for what he revealed. By sharing an unexpectedly ordinary truth, he once again bridged the gap between idol and audience, leaving behind a quiet message that authenticity, when offered sincerely, can resonate louder than any spectacle.